Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Kindness Habit. I'm so excited to have another person who is passionate about kindness, so passionate that he actually created a chapstick called Kind Lips. Please help me welcome my guest today, Joshua Newman. Woo!
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome. So
Thank
you're
you.
in Minneapolis, right?
I am.
All
Nice
right.
and cold here today.
Nice and cold. And so tell us where you grew up. I know you have a fur baby, so just tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started.
Grew up and was born in Oklahoma. So I grew up in Oklahoma. I'm the second oldest. My parents had 6 kids. They've both been remarried, so I have 6 kids originally from them. I have 2 steps and a half brother. My half brother works for Kind Lips, so it's really fun to get to spend time with him. And yeah, so moved up to Western Wisconsin when I was in middle school and went to college at Eau Claire University in Wisconsin. Shout out to Blue Golds. And went to school to be a teacher and was student teaching, and that never happened. I realized at college for 5 years, realized that whatever you're going to school for isn't what you want to do anymore. That's pretty poor timing.
And I think pretty common.
Yeah. After college, moved to Minnesota and find myself here.
Okay. So when I first years ago, well, actually, I guess it was last year, but I've used your chapstick before then. I reached out to you. You started the company over 5 years ago, correct?
2017, yeah, is when the idea came about.
Okay. And you told me the story about why you created this, but let's just tell the listeners first, you said you love chapstick, which I love, like you're a chapstick lover anyway, but tell us your story. So you didn't want to be a teacher. You just said, hey, I have a passion for something else. And tell us how this was created, because I use this every day. I love mint flavor personally, but anyway, tell us how you started this.
Yeah. So after stumbling around for a few years, and I got into real estate and fell in love with it and did it for 10 years passionately, 7 days a week, and it worked really hard in that business, and you have to work hard to make money and stay consistent. And so after about 10 years, and I kind of had my business set up, I was a top 5 realtor in Minneapolis and had a really successful business. And I realized I didn't like it anymore. And so sitting on my couch one night being like, okay, what am I going to do? Because I don't want to show homes anymore or talk to clients anymore. And I was sitting on my couch. I looked down at my hand. I had a lip balm in my hand and was twirling it and thought, I've always liked lip balm. This can't be rocket science. I could start a lip balm company. And so started thinking of different ideas of how can I do a lip balm differently. I was actually going to call it Blessed Lips. It was going to be marketed towards like Christians and yogis, kind of the more spiritual side, and was going to have like positive energy like put into it. My mom happened to call me that night, told her my idea, and in about 30 seconds she was like, oh, you're going to be great at whatever you do. I got to go. And was kind of bummed that she didn't give me more positive reinforcement. Realized how insecure I am in that moment too. And so, the next morning, I go about my night. The next morning at 6 a.m. exactly, she calls, and I thought something horrible had happened. And she tells me she had a dream, the most vivid dream she's ever had in her life. And so my mom dreams a lot. And so that was an impactful thing, knowing that. She went on to tell me that in her dream, my sister and I got in a really bad argument, and I said some really mean things to her in the dream. And I got in trouble. And so for punishment, I was sitting in the middle of this empty classroom at a desk, and she was standing over my shoulder, and I had a piece of paper, and I had to write, the law of kindness is on my lips. And I had to write that sentence 50 times. And she said, she's standing over my shoulder, and every sentence I wrote, every time I wrote the words kind and lips, they flew off the page and hit her in the face. And she's telling me this, she's recalling this dream at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I got chills as she's telling me that. And I still didn't know where she was going with, and I got chills. And she's like, I think if you're going to start this lip balm company, you're supposed to call it Kind Lips. And I knew that in that moment, and like, you're right, it's it's a reminder to speak kind words. Obviously lip balm touches our lips, our words pass through our lips to come out, and it's just kind of that reminder. And so she completely redeemed herself from the night before. And
because she really cared, and she was dreaming about you so much.
Yeah. So, shout out there to all the moms out there that have dreams. And so, yeah, I got off the phone with her, and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do with my life. And it was that impactful of a moment. And that feeling was so impactful, where it's like, I'm not supposed to be in real estate anymore. I'm supposed to start this lip balm company. So I
Mhm.
had to wrestle with that idea for a few days. And, but yeah, started the company. I bought the website, started learning how to make lip balm. My weekends consisted of me being at home, mixing up different formulas on my stovetop, and all my friends are out, hanging out and spending time together. And Josh is being weird at
The
home making lip
scientist,
balm on a stove. So,
right?
um, yeah, so that was kind of how it all started. And then
Wow.
that was 2017-ish when all that kind of started happening. And then
Mm.
2019 is when I went full time. I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk away from real estate. I'm just going to follow my heart and take a leap of faith and see what happens. And
Mhm.
so, 3 years later, I'm still here trying to figure it out and learn what I'm doing.
Right. But you have a team of 4, correct?
Yep, 4 others right now.
Yep. Okay. And so what I love about that is that you also have listened to yourself and realized you didn't want to be a teacher. You knew real estate still wasn't, and you're just listening to your own heart, just saying, I know I have a bigger purpose to do this. When you talked about your mom, I got chills, like just hearing that
Mhm.
story. So for it to all come together, and also I love your mission piece of this. So I had last time that we chatted, I had bought 500 chapsticks and I include them in all of my packs that I give to my clients when I do my trainings virtually. And so when I give them to them, I remind them exactly what you said, like our words matter. What comes out of here, like, can either inspire someone or you can tear someone down. That's your choice. But
Yeah.
I also include your card that's with the chapstick, which says that, I'm going to read it. We believe it's not only our lips that need to be cared for, but the people around us too. 20% of our profits are donated to end bullying, which I love this. So what is your passion? Why did you choose bullying? And then, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, and also if you could talk about your school program that you're doing just to really influence children, because I know people forget how much their words matter.
Mhm.
So I love your passion for this, but if you could tell us just about why bullying and then also about the program you do with kids.
Yeah. When I was a young child, I had chores every day, and I had to, make my bed and clean up the dishes and do a bunch of different stuff. And so I got $1 a week for allowance. And every Sunday we'd go to church, and I had to bring 10 cents and put it in the offering. And so growing up, I was always giving 10 cents. And as I continued to grow older and make more money, I always gave 10% of what I made. And in real estate, even when I got to be on the successful side financially, I wanted to give more than 10%.
Mhm.
And I couldn't get myself to consistently give more than 10%. And it was really interesting just watching my own action and be like, oh, I could afford to give 2,000 instead of 1,000, but I didn't do it.
Mhm.
And so when I was starting Kind Lips, I knew, I'm like, I want to give 20%.
Mm.
And if I don't start doing the 20% right away, I'm never going to get there later on.
Mm.
And it was very hard starting a business with giving 20% of profits away, because that's very important, for any business. But
Mhm.
it's, yeah, so that was where the 20% came from.
Mm.
And I was thinking, when I was in high school, I'm getting older now, where like bullying wasn't really a term that was used then.
Mhm.
And so I know that there was times thinking back where I was bullied, and
Mhm.
honestly probably times where I did stuff where it could have come across as somebody else feeling like I was bullying them.
Mhm.
And but when I was starting the company, I knew I wanted to give back to something, and the opposite of, I kind of felt like the antithesis of speaking kind words was speaking negative words.
Mhm.
And so how can we help to prevent that? And I
Mhm.
don't like telling, I didn't want to go out and say, hey, we're just going to tell everyone that they're being bullies. I just want to like focus more on the speaking kind word side. And so
Mhm.
we're doing that, leading with being kind, and in hopes if we're filling up people's words with kind words, they're not going to be using those words to say negative things.
Mhm.
Um, and so that's kind of like the idea, or that is the idea behind it,
Mhm.
to end bullying by our actions of just being kind all the time.
Mhm. Yeah,
And so,
choosing the words.
yeah, and on top of the bullying, I mean, we're also committed to donating to suicide prevention and mental health. And those are very much not aligned, but they're very much in cahoots with the bullying side of it. The bullying leads to a lot of suicide and mental
Mhm.
health issues. So those, are 3 areas that we're really trying to be impactful in with our finances,
Mhm.
and make a difference there.
Mhm. I love that. And when you go into schools, you had just mentioned that you had just been in a school a couple of days ago. What does that school program look like? Like, how are you impacting, how are you getting this message out to kids?
Yeah, well, it started again when I had first started the business, and someone had ordered 33 tubes on our website, and that was the biggest order that I'd had to that time. And so I was really pumped about that, sent them off. And about 3 months later, I get an email from that same person, and we ended up scheduling a call. And she said she was a third grade teacher, and she had one of the most behaviorally challenged classrooms she's ever had.
Mm,
She ordered these tubes and she gave one to each of her third grade students, and they did a classroom curriculum on kindness and using the lip balm to speak kind words. She said, within it's been a couple months since she did the program, and she said it's now one of the most well-behaved classrooms that she's ever had. And she said it was such a dramatic change. I wanted to reach out and tell you about it. And she said what happens is, if Johnny's saying something negative or Johnny's not being nice, the other kids tell Johnny he should put his kind lips on.
ooh,
And they don't say, Johnny, you're being mean, or, scream and start an argument. They tell him, and then Johnny can actually learn in real time and self-reflect on why he needs to put his kind lips on. And so it was really beautiful. And I was just so thankful that she took the time to reach out and tell me that. And so I thought, well, if this worked for her classroom, why can't it work for others?
mhm,
And so it was kind of a long journey of getting there. And so we started this program where you can go to a classroom, kids will get a tube of lip balm, they get a card where they have to write a kind sentence about themselves, and then they get another card where they have to write a kind sentence about someone else in the classroom. There's a curriculum that goes along with it that the teacher can choose to implement, or they can develop their own, a video that shows like kindness in action and how that works. And
mhm,
then probably my favorite part is there's a letter that goes home to the parents, and that letter tells the parents like why that their kid got a tube of lip balm, but also why. And then
mhm,
challenges them to have a conversation with their kids about the power of their speech, and has them talking to their kids if they've experienced bullying or if they've been bullies, and
mhm,
so really to create that interaction at home.
mhm.
'Cause sometimes I think it just goes, parents are working all day, they're tired,
Right.
kids come home, they're tired, they want a snack and go look on their iPad. And so that just kind of is that reminder that,
Mhm,
to create that conversation. And so we put all that curriculum and all that together. And yeah, so it's really, just getting into the school systems and just trying to have kids associate lip balm, which they're all using, with every
mhm,
time they use it to give somebody a compliment.
mhm.
And yeah,
I love that. And so what age group are you finding that is most effective with?
all of them was
Mhm.
surprising to me. Yeah.
Like
So I
high
think,
school to elementary?
yeah. So the interesting thing is, it seems like, once you're about third grade anything below third grade, kids aren't really using lip balm.
Mhm,
Third grade, it seems like that's when kids are starting to use it. Um, the majority, well, we learn the majority of what we're going to know the entire life by the time we're like 8 or 9 years old,
mhm,
according to research. And so
mhm,
the earlier that we can do it, so I think third grade is probably the best in my
mhm,
opinion. But we know the school I was at the other day was high school age,
mhm.
and they're still learning, and I guess for my own self, I'm still learning,
Well, yeah,
at
we all
42.
are.
And so, I'm using it on a daily basis. And there's, I'm still learning to be more kind to myself, to be more kind to other people. And so I don't know if there's an age group that
Mhm,
isn't appropriate.
mhm. And if schools want to do that, how do they get in touch with you to get that package?
Kindlips.com. There's
Okay.
a section on our school program.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, and I don't think it really does matter what age, but I just was curious, like what kids' age was most into, the message and then like passing it along. I loved how you started with what do you like about yourself?
Mhm.
Because we are the meanest people to ourselves. Like what we say in our brain, we would never say to other people. And
Right.
yet we beat ourselves up. We say you can't do it. And I talk a lot about that. I use a kindness scorecard with my clients. And the first thing we look at is how are you treating yourself? So self-care, not only keeping your lips moisturized, but also like, how are you taking care of yourself? When we talked earlier today, you said you have a routine where you make sure you get enough sleep, every day you exercise. So you start off your day in a really good mindset. What advice would you give people, or what have you experienced just as far as what you've been aware of? So kind lips, like what you're saying to other people. but also everyone that I'm talking to can relate to like what we tell ourselves.
Mhm.
So when you created the chapstick, did you think about also kind of the message you're saying to yourself, or just your thoughts on that?
So much there to unpack.
Mhm,
No, I did not think about when I started it.
mhm,
I didn't have the forethought to think about being kind to myself
mhm,
and starting this company that's I'm still I didn't realize before starting this company how unkind I was to myself.
mm,
And so going through there and seeing the brand start to get more well known and have an impact, it, it's interesting to me as I feel like I'm learning more because of this company about myself and growing so much more as a human being
mhm,
in a positive way because of this company. It almost doesn't even feel right to me that I get the opportunity to go through this and learn. And so the brand seems to be evolving as I'm evolving as a person. And I really realized about a year and a half ago just how I had a really difficult time, and it's still not easy for me, but to even look at myself in the mirror
mm,
and accept myself. And I had never made that correlation.
mm,
I would be embarrassed to do a Zoom call like this or even be on camera. I didn't like photos being taken of me. And, I just wasn't happy with who I was.
mm,
And part of me, I think that's why I'm driven so much is
mhm,
because I'm always trying to like be better
mhm,
different areas of life. But so there's like good parts of that, but also like I just know really I've been really on my radar for the last year and a half about being kind to myself
mhm.
and taking time to relax, taking time to take
Good.
care of myself, and just doing little exercises for me. And even this last week, I live by myself. I have a dog, and
Mhm.
for 5 minutes every day, like I play a different song and I dance, and it's so dumb. And I
No,
sit
it's
there.
not. It's so
Well,
fun.
I mean, I'm
You're
embarrassed. You're the
talking to the
first
wrong
person
person if
that
you think
knows
it's
this.
dumb.
Yeah, well, a 42-year-old grown man in his kitchen dancing to his song with his dog, with his head tilted, wondering what I'm doing. And I'm like, but it puts me in such a good mood.
Oh, yes.
And if somebody saw me doing it, I would be really embarrassed. But it just really helps. And or even, and there's corny stuff of looking in the mirror and looking at yourself and giving yourself a compliment.
Mhm,
And I'm in that process right
mhm,
now, and I'm doing
mhm,
that. And
mhm,
it does make a difference. And so I think everybody can, they don't have to dance, they don't have to give themselves a compliment in the mirror, but do
mhm,
something
mhm,
to be kind to yourself and really let yourself know that it's okay. And like I'm created to be who I am. I don't have to
mhm.
be like somebody else. I
Oh,
just have
yeah.
to be me. And
Oh,
that's okay. And
right.
that's more than good enough. So
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, yeah, and I think it's just a great reminder when people are using your chapstick, be mindful of what's coming out of your mouth, but also be kind to yourself. So because
yeah.
we use it so often. So I'm going to also be adding that to when I use it, but also with my clients. Because you're right. I think your product could not have come at a better time
Mhm.
because everything that I'm reading, all my clients that I work with, everyone is experiencing, like you mentioned, more anxiety, stress, depression, suicide, like everything is up now. And it
Yeah.
starts with us. Like it really does start with how we treat ourselves. And then, like your card says, taking care of people around us.
Yeah.
So I am so excited for your product. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of them. You do have a bunch of different flavors. I think mint is your top seller. Is that right?
It's right up there. Yeah.
Okay. And then for my birthday, my friend gave me vanilla lemon. What else do you have? You have chocolate, strawberry.
Yeah, we had a we had a product called First Kiss, and
Oh,
nobody knew what it
yes.
was. So we got rid of that and
Right.
replaced it with strawberry. So everyone knows
Okay.
what strawberry is, and strawberry is actually climbing the ranks right now as
Hmm.
probably our top seller. A Georgia peach, which is I really like. Cocoa bean was the other one that tastes like chocolate. So no one knew what
Mhm.
cocoa bean was. So we're
You like
replacing that with
chocolate.
chocolate. Yeah. So they're just changing the name. So I was like, oh, this would be fun to have like fun, cute, different names, but
Like Bonnie
realize,
Bell. Remember Bonnie Bell lip balms when we were little? Like
yeah.
bubble
Well, I'm
gum and all
realizing
that.
from like a marketing standpoint that people just want to know exactly what they're
What's in
getting.
it?
And so there's a small percentage that like cute names, and the majority of people just want to know and go on with their day. So I'm still just trying to learn and figure that out and do the best that I can
Right. Well,
with
especially
that.
with your
So
product because it's organic and like all the ingredients are written on there. So just to
yeah.
say what the flavor is makes sense. And then if people were to find these, I know they're in different stores all over the United States. Where would you tell them to find them? They can go on your website and purchase them.
Yep.
Correct.
I mean, preferably that's the
Right.
best for us.
Okay.
Convenience standpoint, you can get them on Amazon is really convenient.
Mhm.
But yeah, a lot of stores, boutiques, grocery. We're continuing to expand, which is really fun to see that happening. And I mean, that's even another thing. Like I look at where our business is now compared to a year ago, or
Mhm.
especially compared to 3 years ago, because I'm not happy with it not being, I have a goal of this becoming the largest lip balm company in the world.
Mhm.
And that's not going to come easily. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done, but I think that our mission, I think our product is better, or, from an ingredient standpoint, it's as good as there can be. But our mission is so important and so needed. And the more that we can sell, obviously, the more impact that we can have. And that's just, yeah, I'm going to do everything I can to spread as much kindness as I can while I'm here on this earth.
Yay.
So,
Well, I'm going to join you, and I give my chapsticks out everywhere I go. And again, to all my clients. So thank you so much for creating this product. What you just said, I know that you will succeed because you have passion, you have such a grateful heart, and also you know what your mission is now. So you know what you don't want to do. And so just to keep your vision and mission right in front of you and get the right people, to help you get there. And the product is going to change people's lives, just as a reminder that our words matter. So
yeah.
thank you so much for joining us on the kindness habit. It really is a habit to make kindness, to be kind to yourself, as well as what you say. I love the visual reminder of using your chapstick and just thinking about that. So thank you so much. And
Thank you
again,
so
tell
much.
people your website again.
www.kindlips.com.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.